Okay, we're back. I have my base, the slab base or the clay base that's pressed out to about 3/8 of an inch and wide enough to a diameter that will take on either 3 or 4 inches. So I actually found this plastic container where my kitchen utensils are, and I'm going to use the bottom of it to trace out the the diameter I need. And look, I have enough of a clay base that I can use. So I'm going to use my wooden skewer to trace around the clay, the base, following the diameter of the plastic container. So as you can see, you can see the markings. And then now I'm going to use the skewer as my cutting tool and follow my pattern. The mark, or the mark that I used to create that diameter. I'm trying to hold the skewer at a 90-degree upright position so that it doesn't have, when I cut it, it's not like an angle, which is what you see here. So we don't want to avoid cutting the piece at an angle. So I'm going to do this and flatten it out a little bit. Okay. Go. Throw away my extra clay. Don't want it to leave it out because it might dry up. So, okay. Now I have this ready. I'm going to now start making what's called coils. And the Japanese jomon pottery in this type of form was made out of coils. And what are coils? Coils are strands of rope-like clay. Okay, and more than likely, they are chunks of clay that are rolled out, hand rolled out into these strands of clay, rope-like strands of clay. So, just like I started the base, I'm going to compress it a little bit, this chunk of clay. Okay, let's put this aside. Compress again. So that, again, this is about baseball-sized chunk of clay. But I will obviously make more because the technique of coil building to build a clay vessel has to do with using a series of stacked coils that are built up one on top of the other. So I might, to achieve my goal and the size of my conical vessel, I might have to have at least a dozen or so coils formed before I start. So again, starting the same way though, compress, and then now we have to decide on what thickness the coils will be. And I've come to, for the size of our base, I think we can go 3/8 inch thick for each coil. So we want to be consistently the same thickness as we roll out a coil. So what I'm going to do here is take my cut wire and then cut off like about 1/2 inch and another 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we'll cut that in half. So you see I've got chunks here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is pinch them out with my fingers like this to start them off. Okay, now the technique of coil rolling is to where you start. I like to start in the middle, the center of the chunk of clay, and then gradually work outward on both sides. I'm using the fingertip to base of my hand and slowly roll out the coil. Trying to get it nice and even, the same thickness, and being aware of the 3/8 inch thickness of the coil. Trying to achieve that. Alright, I think I've got my first coil made. Okay, and I'll do another one. So this technique of building, creating coils and stacking them up and attached together takes some practice. If you've never done clay or make objects out of clay and use this technique before, it does take some practice. So as I roll, I'm starting from the center and then I'm rolling out and then I come rolling back in, side to side. And I want to be aware of the thickness. Don't want to thin it out too much. We want to get it to the 3/8 of an inch. Okay. You see, I should have pinched that out a little bit more before I actually started uh, putting pressure on it to roll out my coil. So you can see I have various sizes of coils. It would be obvious that, you whatever size chunk of clay you start off is where the length of your coil might be. So they can vary in size or lengths. All right, so when I come back, I'm going to have at least 10 to 12 coils completed so that I can show you the next step in building your conical vessel.